Elon Musk is undoubtedly one of the most powerful men on the planet. In a pretty impressively short amount of time, he has managed to gain influence in most major institutions that make up modern society. From tech and automotive industries, to being the right-hand man to the President of the United States, and whether you like it or not, bro is pretty much everywhere. And sure, working with the president is cool, but you know what's really impressive? Co-hosting an episode of Meme Review with PewDiePie.
So that's
Jeez, is that true?
That's delightful.
What is that actually happened?
Of course it happened. I think this is a reflection of how
The real OGs will remember this from back in 2019, actually 6 years ago today, Jesus Christ. But it was because of this video that I actually started to really like Elon Musk. And around that time, I wasn't the only one. He was a pretty popular figure among gamers and plenty of people from other areas of nerd culture. And of course, that reflected in popular media. For example, he was in an Iron Man movie and 2 episodes of Big Bang Theory, I think.
You're Elon Musk. I am?
Which isn't as cool, but basically he's kind of always been around in the internet zeitgeist. But when you go back to that PewDiePie video, it almost feels like a completely different world and a completely different Elon. And when you go to the most recent comments, they're pretty much all about how this video really has not aged well at all. And it's a common sentiment shared by people who have been following Elon for a while that he's really not as cool as we thought he was. And I want to preface this video by saying I don't have any political affiliation. That's not what this is about. Frankly, I don't care, and I prefer to watch from a distance, a very, very safe distance. This video is more so about how Elon has gone from that nerdy, socially inept, relatable kind of cringe to the intellectual Chad, average Redditor, embarrassingly egotistical and insecure, but also socially inept kind of cringe. When it was announced that Elon Musk would be buying Twitter, I thought it was pretty cool. And his reasoning for buying Twitter was to prevent censorship and promote free speech, something that I am very much in support of. And although I cannot speak on what Twitter was like before he bought it, as I was not there, I can say it's not in very good condition nowadays. It is absolutely riddled with bots promoting corn and gambling and gore and corn and OnlyFans, and did I mention corn? It's pretty bad. Granted, not as bad as it was like 6 months ago, at least in my experience, but when the bar is set that low, it's not that impressive. And then there's the checkmark system. Back before Elon owned Twitter, the blue verification checkmark served only one purpose: to verify the authenticity of certain accounts used by people like journalists, celebrities, politicians, and important people who need that kind of separation from accounts pretending to be them. It's a really good idea, and has been implemented by pretty much every major social media platform. There was really no reason to change it, but Elon did. Instead of applying for a checkmark, you can now just pay for it, which like completely takes away its purpose. And there are different tiers of payment, I guess. There's like the first tier, which is basic, and the second tier where you get a blue checkmark and less ads and access to their AI. And there's the top tier, which is a gold checkmark and even less ads. And the higher tier you are, the more your tweets get pushed through the algorithm, which is pretty important because another feature that Elon added is the opportunity to be monetized through engagement on Twitter. And that's caused its own host of problems, like engagement bait and gimmick accounts whose only purpose is to farm engagement. So why do this? Why implement this whole system? Well, apparently Elon's reasoning for changing everything was because he claimed checkmarks were being weaponized against people for political purposes, like people who said things that Twitter staff didn't like would have their verification removed, essentially shadow banning them. And like, I get it, you know, that's not cool. I see why you'd want to change that, but the best way to fix that issue is to just stop. Like, don't shadow ban people. It's not that hard to just do nothing. The easiest fix ever. There was no reason to change how the system worked, and I think the platform is worse off because of it. And the irony in this whole checkmark thing is Elon has actually weaponized the checkmark system against others, most famously being Asmongold. You may remember this controversy from like a month ago. Basically, Elon was caught lying about being level 99 in a video game, Path of Exile 2, and the only reason why he lied about it is seemingly to just look cool among the gamers. When this was exposed, it was a pretty big deal, and he was clowned on pretty hard. And of course, course, Asmongold ended up covering this himself. Elon didn't like that, so he cried about it in a tweet, claiming that he is not his own man and that he has editors decide what he can and can't post. And he's obviously confused because when Asmon told him that he had editors, Elon thought that meant like newspaper editors, like the people at the top of the chain who decide what gets put out there. But Asmon was referring to his video editors and the people who edit down his streams into clips so he can post them. They don't decide what he says. And this mistake, of course, led Elon to get clowned on even harder, and this made Elon so upset that he completely took away Asmongold's verification.
Elon and I have a disagreement in DMs, and a brief disagreement, and this, of course, was at, I don't know, like 2:30 in the morning, which is, you know, like, that's pretty much usual, right? We had disagreement about this. And then I was like, yeah, whatever. And I went to bed, right? Because I was tired. I woke up and I had like 3 of my like real life friends texting me. They were like, bro, like, so what the fuck is like, what's going on? Like, did he really take your check mark away? And so I didn't do, like, when I went to bed, I had the check mark and I had the gaming thing. When I woke up, I had neither. Then I had the check mark. Then I had the check mark and the gaming thing. And now I only have the check mark.
And again, this is all because he lied about being level 99 in a video game. Imagine being that insecure about how you are perceived that you have to pay somebody to play for you just so you can brag about your level. And then when you're exposed for it, throw a tantrum and censor somebody over something so dumb. But of course, this isn't the only instance in where Elon has taken away verification or censored people on Twitter for just expressing their opinion. Most recently, Bill Burr, famous legendary comedian, one of my favorites.
You ever drive down the street and see like 30 people up on a sidewalk and you just think, right? You don't do it, you just think it. That's what like separates the psychos from the functioning psychos, right? Psychos, they just think it, fuck it, they do it. They get the wipers going, they make a day out of it, right?
Has come out on his podcast talking about how his Twitter account was flagged by X, even though Bill hadn't tweeted in forever.
I'll tell you what was funny. I made fun of the fucking Twitter guy for fucking Sieg Heiling, not once but twice. And I never look at my emails. I was scrolling through my emails and it said my Twitter account had been flagged for I don't even tweet anymore. It had been flagged for what a fucking baby. Just like Hitler, a fucking baby.
And this is obviously because Bill Burr has openly criticized Elon Musk, and this obviously hurt his feelings, causing him to try and censor Bill. Another recent occurrence highlighting Elon's insecurity and ego was when he got in an argument with a commander of the International Space Station. After the commander fact-checked something that Elon said in his interview with Trump, Elon called him retarded. Yes, he called the commander of the International Space Station an idiot, which by itself is crazy, and of course people started calling him out for it. Elon responded to one of these people claiming that they were lying, and after that Elon was community noted. In case you don't know what community notes are, it's this neat little independent fact-checking system that I honestly think is a genius idea. It's not like other fact-checkers or top-down censorship from Twitter where you have a high probability of biased fact-checking or manipulating facts to push an agenda. How it works is basically approved community noters can leave a little note under a post that they believe to be misleading or untrue or satire that can be misconstrued as fact. And then a bunch of other approved community noters can vote on that community note to make it public for everyone to see. And in order for this note to be approved, it needs an overwhelming majority of votes, which makes it hard for people with strong political biases to dogpile on a note and try and fact check something that actually doesn't need it. It's a pretty foolproof system, and it's the best example of fact checking we have on social media, in my opinion. Elon has been praised for implementing this, and I've actually given him plenty of credit in the past for it. But Elon Musk himself has actually been community noted quite a few times, including this most recent one, which I mentioned earlier. Shortly after this, Elon claimed the community note system had been infiltrated by governments and big media, and that he is working to fix this, and then makes it about Ukraine for some reason, when this is so obviously about him being butthurt over being community noted so many times for the blatantly incorrect thing things that he has said on his platform. And all of these examples that I've mentioned of him censoring people and taking away their check marks just scratch the surface of what Elon has done to censor those who have either criticized him or disagree with his belief system. And I believe this all comes from his incessant desire to be liked and looked upon as this sort of super genius, and his constant attempts at trying to win over certain communities has set him up for some of the cringiest interactions I have ever seen on the internet. A couple years ago, he started his whole right-wing grift, going into interviews, prioritizing free speech, and speaking out against woke stuff. And that has led to this famous clip where he says his son was taken by the woke mind virus.
So my son Xavier is dead. Killed by the woke mind virus.
And the context of this clip is basically Elon's son became transgender. Like, that's it. He talks about her like she's dead. Your kid is alive and well, my guy. It is not that deep. Elon tries harder to win over his unrelenting meat gobblers than to spend valuable time with his children. And it's not just the right-wing grift kind of communities. It's also like the meme communities and gaming communities. At CPAC 2025, he did an interview and utters the line,
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much.
Quoting Oppenheimer, a meme that was dead like 2 years ago. And this is all after Javier Milei, the crypto scamming Argentinian president, gave him a chainsaw to make him look like this kind of badass slashing through the government. And it's all just the most out of touch cringe fest ever. Like ever in the history of the internet, the country even. And like I have to show the context leading up to Elon Musk's Oppenheimer bit, because it is so funny how just uncomfortable the interviewer is, and how the moment Elon says I am become meme, the entire crowd who was roaring up until this point just goes completely silent.
That was something.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much. I'm living the meme. It's like there's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening, you know?
No, Elon, you're just retarded. It's so bad, dude. I don't even know how. Honestly, I'm just gonna say it. This is worse than the Sig Heil. All right, this is worse than that. That I can watch. I can watch and be like, wow, that's dumb. Why'd you do that? But this, it hurts to watch. It's worse. It's worse, honestly. And of course, that's its own thing. That was pretty bad. A lot of people say he's just autistic, or he didn't actually mean to do it, which very well may be the case. I don't know what his intention was. I think in this case, outcome matters a lot more, and the outcome to that is people are mimicking it. People are saluting everywhere, it seems, including a pastor whose church is like 20 minutes away from my house, which is crazy. Of course, context matters, and I know people are probably gonna get on me for that. Elon was saying, my heart goes out to you, and apparently that excuses it somehow. I don't know. It would have been so easy for him to come out and just say, hey, don't do that. I just don't understand social cues. I am not a Nazi. But he has not done that in a way that seems genuine. He's turned it into a joke, and he's criticized the media for trying to convince them of such a preposterous thing, even though it looked like exactly what everyone is saying it is. And it is a Nazi salute. That doesn't mean I think he's a Nazi. There's a very big difference there. Like, if I'm out driving and I hit somebody with my car, even though I didn't mean to, it doesn't change the fact that I hit somebody with my car. You know, it being a mistake doesn't change the reality of the situation. And that's assuming it was a mistake. I'm giving him the biggest benefit of the doubt possible here. To say that this isn't a Nazi salute is insane. To defend it is insane. And the fact that he hasn't addressed it in a mature way and is instead downplaying it is very suspicious, and it does not surprise me that so many people are calling him a Nazi. He brought this upon himself. Elon recently went on Joe Rogan's podcast again, and I like Joe Rogan, but if there's anything to dislike about him, it's his weird obsession with Elon. The way Joe Rogan talks to and perceives Elon Musk is exactly the way he wants to be perceived, as this kind of super genius, savior of Earth kind of figure. And it really is weird. I don't think any person of influence has ever had this much of an impact on greater society. It seems to transcend politics and government. He is his own entity. He's not held back by anyone or anything other than maybe his ego and insecurity, which I think will ultimately be his downfall. I don't know. I'm not like a generational Elon hater. I definitely haven't always been this way. My feelings towards Elon have definitely changed over the past year or so. I think SpaceX is really cool. I respect what he's done with Tesla, and Starlink I think is a really good idea. But when you dive deeper into his character and his tendencies as a person, that's pretty much where my respect for him ends. Elon Musk is an insecure man-child, constantly seeking attention and validation through whatever means necessary. Whether it's lying about being good at a video game and then censoring those who call you out for it, or punching down on your own child just to appease the far right so they can propel you to the top of the chain. The grift knows no bounds. He will go to the extreme, embarrassing himself time and time again, just to call himself one of the guys, to belong in whatever community he is interested in at the time. He has become so out of touch to the point of no return, and the only way I could ever see him coming back and sorta stepping to the light, he just needs to quit. And this brings me back to PewDiePie, back to 2019. At this point, both him and Elon were figureheads in the meme community. One of them has stepped back, focusing on his family, his wife, and children, becoming a little more in touch with his humanity, solidifying himself as a legend to his fans and an inspiration for YouTubers of today and to come. And I think Elon Musk could learn a thing or two from such a legend. But hey, that's just what I think. Let me know what y'all think down below. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a wonderful day.